from exports to imports. I have, that was regarding the background or the know-how that I wanted to share from the BIREC side and from the ecosystem side. I'll take this opportunity to share my personal suggestions to this August gathering. Like most of us would have noticed that in the individual endeavors as a PI or as an individual in laboratories, we pursue certain projects and we try to take it forward. But those for the entire length of product conception to product development, you actually need several players. Just like within the pharmacy, you have pharmacology, you have pharmacokinetics groups, you have medicinal chemistry, you have regulatory, you have farm management, and few more, right? Now, in the individual laboratory, one person might have an excellence in the, let's say, chemistry side. So one can identify the new scaffolds. Now, the same knowledge, if gets carried forward in, let's say, in the pharmacology labs to characterize and identify the lead compounds, for instance, and the DMPK side kind of characterizes and further filters and further does the preclinical, the toxicology, safety assessment laboratory can complement that piece. So one molecule or one project has seen all the labs, and that becomes the entire institutional effort. It's easier said than done, but I would suggest that that's my personal request. If we can consider maybe 10% or 25% of this complementary combined effort to take these things forward in a more kind of continuum manner, and rest 75% of the endeavors can stay like the conventional one, the individual excellence in a project or in an individual science. The reason I am saying so, that would actually bring a lot of strength to an individual project, and you would be able to filter off quickly some which have value to move and propel forward, just like an industry does. So the attrition, there is a selection and deselection process, and those which see merit, they move forward and they get prioritized. This is something similar that you would also see when you are applying for grants. So multi-institutional collaborative projects get identified and supported much better on priority than individual endeavors. For the being a pharmacy student in past myself, so I see that pharmacy students need to study from 8:30 in the morning to 4:30, continuous back-to-back theory classes or practical classes, and we get too engrossed to see anything beyond what we are doing. The curriculums and the landscape of science is evolving. My suggestion is that if we can also keep an eye on the more recent sciences, integration of those sciences. Few we mentioned about AI, ML. The one, like most of us would not know coding, for example. I was talking to Ambassador of Sweden once, and she mentioned that every single person in Sweden knows coding. Coding is integrated right from the school curriculum. So something, some of those elements, if we start imbibing by choice, that would be helpful. I think some of those metabolomics, immunology, molecular biology, these techniques are quintessential, indispensable now. We can start looking at those maybe in a more conscious manner. The multidisciplinary aspect from let's say specialization for in vitro, in vivo, understanding of in vivo, as well as understanding of ex vivo techniques would actually complement and help you, make you more industry ready, as well as able to envisage much more than the respective individual informed syllabi. I also want to encourage you to interact with more number of startups, and if possible, consider doing internship and visiting some incubators. I think I overstepped my task here, but thank you so much for listening. That's all from my side. Thank you.
We have with us today Mr. Deepak Behri as the next speaker. Mr. Behri founded Centis Pharma in 1990 and is the CEO. He is also the Managing Director of Centis Research Center. May I now invite Mr. Deepak Behri to the dais for his address.
Stop it. Hold it, please. I'll tell you when to start, then you can start. Okay? Can you remove this? Yeah. Rewind it, please, so that we can start from the beginning. Yeah. So, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and thank you so much for this invitation from NIPER, Professor Panda, Professor Bansal. Madam Aparna, pleasure meeting you today. I want to rewind to the year 2004. That was 18 years ago. Why 2004? Because in that year I was standing on this stage, I'm not sure if it was the same auditorium or the other one, and giving the same speech, lecture, whatever you may say, to the students of NIPER. And it was very interesting because I came here to give a presentation, and I was requested by then Professor Bhutani, who was also the Dean of the MBA program and later became the Director of NIPER. And he told me that we have a great bunch of MBA students in NIPER. It's the first batch. Can you please meet them? And I said, look, I'm sorry, but I have a very tight program. I didn't plan for that. But he said, just maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, it will be very inspiring for them. I said, okay, fine. So I remember there were about 25 students or so who we wanted to meet. And he actually wanted me to do some kind of interviews because all of them had applied to our company to be hired, to be selected. And our HR had already done some preliminary rounds. So I said, fine, let's meet them. We met 25 students in, I think it was in 3 groups. And I was so impressed. And I called up our HR and asked them that, how many students are you planning to hire from here? And they said, well, maybe 2. I said, okay, clear. So I told Professor Bhutani, we have to hire only 2, but I will interview all of them in any case. So I interviewed them, and I was so impressed that we actually hired 8. And out of those 8, 6 joined, and I'm just trying to remember, out of those 6, one one lady who joined us. She worked with us for about 14 years. And the other group is all of them are doing very well, those who are in touch with us. One is a professor in US, one is a vice president in Dr. Reddy's, and they all done very well. So that is what I really like about NIPER, and the quality of the students, the quality of the professors, the quality of the education, the quality of the experiences that the students, I think now at all NIPERs, are very lucky to get. So I have been invited today to inspire the students. Many of you will be moving on to careers soon, maybe in the next year. You will be graduating, many in a year. And as you transition from the academic world to the corporate or research world or even an entrepreneurial world, life is going to be very different for you. So what is that life going to be like, and what do organizations, how do organizations work, how do organizations think, and how do we build careers for you? It's very important. And those of you who are graduating, and as the saying goes, that if you think that your professor or your dad was very tough, then wait till you get a boss. So life is not going to be so simple. It's going to be tough. You really will have to work very hard, continue to work very hard. You will have to continue to put in your best. And it's not easy, as they say. Somebody says, yeah, he had good luck, he got a great job. Well, luck has a part to play. But as they say, it's 99% perspiration and 1% inspiration. So hard work is required. Good luck doesn't get you very far. So please keep up this rigor that you have of submissions, of deep analysis, and this learning that you have of going deep into every matter, doing the research. The research teaches you a very good thing, which is how to be detail-oriented, how to go in-depth into everything. And that is required everywhere in life. There is no going away from the attention to detail. So what now I will do is we will show you this short video. It's very short, just to give you a glimpse of our organization. And then I will try to share with you our journey of our organization and how the corporate world is different and how you can adapt to it and what will be interesting for you. So, video please. Thank you very much. So, that was a glimpse into life at S.A.S, and many other companies would have their own panorama which they would like to show you. But what are the important things that I'd like to share with you? That as you transition, can we just have the next slide show, please? Yeah. Okay. This will work? Is this connected? I need to point that side. Okay, so like this. Okay, very good. Thank you. This works like this. Okay, yeah. Thank you. So, you saw, that we were not talking so much about our sales. We spoke about some very important things. We spoke about patents, which many of you understand. We spoke about values and culture. We spoke about giving back to society. So, why am I saying this to you? Why am I sharing this with you? Because it's very important to understand that in today's world, what is very important is values, ethics, culture, transparency. These are very important qualities. In today's world, compliance is a very critical thing. Because in the pharma industry, in biotech, in whatever field you are, in healthcare, you know that all pharmaceutical companies, all biotech companies are trying to get on the international stage. And to be on the international stage, it's very important to be compliant with international regulatory requirements, with international statutory requirements, with international financial requirements. So, compliance also comes from quality, and quality of products and quality of everything you do. So, companies are built on pillars, on foundation. Just like a building has its own pillars, its foundation, companies also has its pillars. This is the pillars of S.A.S. We call it our 3 pillars: our quality, policy, our values, and our cultural anchors. Many of them will resonate with you also. And it's very important for the company to be built on this solid foundation. Remember, as you move ahead in life, what is going to hold you, what is going to be good for you is to have your own image. And your image comes from how you project yourself, how you build your values, how you project those values, and how much you live by those values. So, as you can see, we have discipline and compliance shown here, which I was talking about compliance. Compliance comes with discipline, and which is why quality-centric organizations like ours prefer quality-driven institutes like yours, right? We believe in quality. Quality is very necessary, and that's what you are all taught, and that's what the excellent education which you receive brings you to. And one important thing to learn is that quality should have one standard. You see, in the olden days, we had that, okay, this is a quality which was for the Indian market, which was of a lower standard, and this is export quality, which is for a higher standard. So when we set up our company, when we set up our own plant, we said one quality, one standard throughout the world. Now, you all saw this very nice presentation before mine by Dr. Manish, which was showing some fantastic funding for startups and biotechs. Yes, amazing. I must really admire the government of India for taking such initiatives. Really amazing. I saw the number, $150 billion. Wow, that's really super. I'm going to rewind now to the year 2006, when a young man, me, went to the bank to ask for money to set up an R&D center, and the manufacturing plant. In those days, there were no incubators, there was no startup funding, there was nothing. There was a bank, there were no private banks. Yes, it was PSUs. And it was very difficult to convince the banks to give money. Now, when I went to the bank and I gave a project report, the bank manager told me, read through the report, and he told me, you have some, either you are either crazy or you have some fantastic strategy which I don't understand. Because you are at I remember we had sales of about 50 crores and we were asking for a loan of 50 crores. So he says, you have 50 crores sales and you want me to fund you 50 crores? I don't understand why. So he said, are you crazy or you have some special strategy? I said, both. I said, a little bit of both. And it's very important to be crazily passionate about what you're doing. So that's the message I want to give to all of you also, that be crazily passionate about what you have in life, what you want to do in life, whatever it may be. Be crazily passionate about your studies, about your education, about your work, about your hobbies, whatever you'd like. This is a very important mantra in life, and I'm probably going to stop here because we're running out of time. This is a very critical mantra which we follow, and I'd like to share with you, that you must plan, then do, then check, then act. And it's a cycle. I call it the circle of life. This is not my formula. This is a very standard quality formula. But I just want to share with all of you that if you are able to keep to this and plan, then execute, then check and monitor and track, then act and correct whatever you have to do, and then follow the same circle of life again. So, due to paucity of time, I will stop now, and I will leave you with some messages, very quick message. This is our philosophy. Since you are all brimming with ideas, that no idea is a bad idea. That's our philosophy in our company, that no idea is a bad idea. Come up with any idea. And no excuse is a good excuse, right? So don't give excuses for anything that you have to do. Okay, so this is my message which I said earlier to you also. Be crazily passionate about whatever you want to do, and I'm confident you will get success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. May I now request Professor Dulal Panda, Director NIPER S.A.S. Nagar, to escort today's chief guest, Ms. S. Aparna, Mr. Deepak Behri, Professor Y.K. Gupta to the dais, please. I now invite Ms. Anandita to bring the bouquet to be presented to Ms. S. Aparna by Professor Dulal Panda. I now invite Ms. Astha to bring the bouquet to be presented to Mr. Deepak Behri by Professor Dulal Panda. I now invite Ms. Abhyanta to bring the bouquet to be presented to Mr. Deepak Behri by Professor Dulal Panda. I now invite Ms. Devanjana to present the. Okay. May I now request Professor Dulal Panda to address the gathering.
Good evening, Madam S.A.S, Secretary, Department of Pharmaceuticals, Professor Y.K. Gupta, President, AIMS, Bhopal and Jammu, Dr. Monish Dian, Head, Speed Birac, Mr. Deepak Bahari, Founder, CEO, S.A.S Pharma, my fellow directors of all NIPERs, eminent speakers, my colleagues in faculty and staff of NIPER Mohali and other 6 NIPERs, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great pleasure to welcome you all in the valedictory function of the International Conference on Recent Trends and Future Opportunities in Pharmaceutical NIPER Pharmacon 2022. I am extremely happy with the quality of lectures delivered during the 12 technical sessions spread over the last 3 days. Not only the lecture by the senior faculty and scientists from industry and academia, but I was pleasantly surprised and indeed quite excited by the level of scientific competence visible in oral presentation delivered by young researchers, including assistant professors, postdoctoral fellows, and PhD scholars. Approximately 400 posters were presented during the conference and 42 oral presentations were made. Several of them showed a high level of scientific expertise. It gives me hope and confidence that our younger generation has the innate capability required to carry out scientific research, and conferences like NIPER Pharmacon 2022 will provide them with the platform to convert this genotype into phenotype. Today's science is tomorrow's technology. Like I had noted in my remarks during the inauguration of the conference, we have been inspired by the words of Honorable Union Minister of Chemical and Fertilizer, Dr. Mansukh Mandaviyaji, during the NIPER week organized as a part of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav celebration at the Institute last October, where he had asked the NIPER community and the pharma industry to draw up an action plan for the pharmaceutical sector for India 2047. We are grateful to Madam Aparna for her guidance in drafting the program of the conference. Her keen interest and the support of the Department of Pharmaceuticals have been instrumental in the conference reaching its goal successfully. During these 3 days, we have heard from speakers from academia and industry on their research experience. The presentations were interactive in the true sense of the word. I am sure that constructive feedback received from audience will provide several thinking points when the speakers go back to the bench. I am thankful to the speaker who participated in the several panel discussions. This informal setting allowed them to articulate their viewpoints on the necessity of basic and applied research going hand to hand, and provided a platform for the members of the audience to interact with them on some important issues in developing bench-to-bedside technology. Madam Aparna had specially emphasized on this academia-industry platform to strengthen during this conference, and this has paid rich dividend in terms of the need for standard operation procedure to be designed while carrying out research in institutes like NIPERs. The participation